Good morning, everybody, and welcome. This is our July 3rd regular meeting of the Mason County Commission. Commissioner Drexler, would you do us the honor of leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I'd be honored. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner District 1, Randy Netherland.
I'm here.
Commissioner District 2, Kevin Shooting.
Here.
Commissioner District 3, Terry Drexler.
Here.
Item number 4, correspondence and organizational business. We have correspondence come before this board.
Yes, I have 3 items. Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board sent a marijuana license for Blacksmith Farms, 6251 Northeast Bear Creek, Water Road in Belfair. Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board sent a liquor license application for Harstein Island Community Club, 3371 East Harstein Island Road in Shelton. And the State of Washington Department of Health sent an administrative order reclassifying approximately 350 acres of the Oakland Bay commercial shellfish growing area in Mason County from conditionally approved to approved, and 19 acres from conditionally approved to unclassified.
Thank you. Item number 4.2, news release, 2018 burn restrictions, Dave Wyndham.
Morning, Commissioners. Dave Wyndham from Mason County Community Services. So this year, in some discussions, we changed the terminology from burn ban to burn restrictions. We've had some confusion in the past, so this is how it lines out this year. Countywide burn restrictions effective 8 a.m. Saturday, July 6th, 2018 until further notice. Mason County Community Services, the Mason County Marshal, in partnership with the Mason County Fire Chiefs Association, has determined that the current weather conditions within Mason County have created substantial fire dangers and that there is a need to enact restrictions on outdoor burning on all lands regulated by Mason County. These burn restrictions apply to land clearing fires and residential debris fires. Recreational fires in designed concrete, stone, or metal pits like those commonly found in campgrounds are still permitted, as well as the use of charcoal briquettes, gas, and propane barbecues. Lands protected by the Department of Natural Resources may have different restrictions. To find out more information or to determine if you are in a Department of Natural Resources area, visit www.dnr.wa.gov or call the DNR South Puget Sound region at 360-825-1631. Recreational fires must be built in a metal or concrete fire pit, such as those typically found in designated campgrounds, and not to be used as a debris disposal, grow no larger than 3 feet in diameter, be located in a clear spot free from any vegetation for at least 10 feet in a horizontal direction, including at least 25 feet away from any structure, and allow a 20-foot vertical clearance from overhanging branches. Be attended at all times by an alert individual with equipment capable of extinguishing the fire with a shovel and a 5-gallon bucket of water, or with a connected and charged water hose. Completely extinguish fires by pouring water or moist soil on them and stirring with a shovel until all parts are cool to the touch. The use of self-contained camp stoves is encouraged as an alternative. No burning when winds exceed 5 miles an hour. For further information, please contact the Mason County burn ban information line at 360-427-7799, and it's signed by the Mason County Board of Commissioners. And in support of that, we came up with a document that we're going to put on the website to make it as easy as possible for people to see what a designed fire pit is, as opposed to last year where we used the terminology an approved fire pit. Nobody approves fire pits, so that's not something we go around and do. So yeah. So this is our attempt to make this as easy as possible. We'll put it on the website, and as fire conditions change, we can change burn restrictions. The problem we had is when we had the word burn ban, it created confusion, so we're going to go to restrictions.
So
Go ahead, please.
well, first of all, the winds exceeding 5 miles an hour is going to be very difficult lately. Is that gusts or prevailing?
Prevailing.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, next up, news release, Planning Advisory Commission vacancies, Kel Ron.
Morning, Kel Rowan, Mason County Planning. Mason County is seeking applicants from Commissioner District 1, that's the Great View, Harstein Island, Allen, Belfair, and Tahuya areas, and District 3, That's the City of Shelton, Agate, Arcadia, Bayshore, and Deer Creek areas for the Mason County Planning Advisory Commission. The Planning Advisory Commission is a 7-member citizen board appointed to advise the Board of County Commissioners on policy related to amendments to the comprehensive plan, shoreline master program, resource ordinance, and other development regulations. The commission typically meets at least once per month on the third Monday at 6 p.m. with special meetings scheduled as necessary. Appointed commissioners normally serve a 4-year term. Applications to serve on the board are being accepted until the positions are filled and should be submitted to the Mason County Commissioners, 411 North 5th Street, Shelton, Washington 98584. Application forms may be obtained from the Commissioner's office. You could call 360-427-9670 extension 419 or visit our website at www.co.mason.wa.us. Signed by the Commissioners.
Thank you very much. Is there any other correspondence or organizational business come for this body?
No.
Hearing none, we'll move forward. Item number 5 is your open forum for citizens' input. This is your opportunity to speak to the commission on any item that is not on the agenda. If it is on the agenda, we ask that you wait until that time, and you'll be given an opportunity to come and speak to us and given an opportunity at that time to testify. This part, I want to remind you, is non-confrontational. You direct everything to the commission, please. And remember that we treat each other with respect. We expect the same from everybody in the audience. With that being said, is there anybody who would like to speak to the commission on an item that is not on the agenda? Please raise your hand to be recognized. Please come forward.
Thank you very much. My name is Ralph Volker. My address is 4802 South 19th Street in Tacoma, Washington, 98405. I'm the Scout Executive for the Boy Scouts of America that serves Southwest Washington Pacific Harbors Council. And I came today because we've heard that there's a lot of public interest in what we're going to be doing with a property that's located in Mason County, Camp Jojobas. I had the good fortune that I spent a day here recently with Commissioner Netherland talking a little bit about the property and a little bit about what we're doing there. We thought we'd take an opportunity to kind of share with people what we're hoping to have happen on the property. The property came into the possession of the Boy Scouts of America in several different ways, but it was in the 1930s. It was a property that ran as 2 different Boy Scout camps for a while, and it's been used in a variety of different ways to serve scouting since the 1930s. As part of what we've tried to do, there's been fishing access to the public that has been a part of what we do on the property since it came into our possession during that period of time. In 2016, the Boy Scouts of America, our council, made the decision to close it as a resident camp. We continue to use it from time to time for different functions, for different things that we do, including some orienteering events. We also have done some things with the Order of the Arrow, which is a service organization within our group. And since 2016, we've been looking at options on what to do with the property. We've talked to all sorts of different people about what we might be able to do. And we just wanted to let people know that we've entered into an agreement with the Trust for Public Land in an effort to make it so that we can conserve this property and make it so that future generations will be able to have access. The nice thing about the transaction will be that it'll conserve the entire 588 acres, including a mile of beach along the Hood Canal. And so we're kind of excited that we were able to conserve it, that we're going to be able to make it so that scouts will be able to continue to use the entire property as well as the public. And so we just wanted to take a moment and do that, see if you guys had any questions, and go from there.
No, I think we actually will be reaching out here shortly to have further discussions
Okay, that'd be
with the
wonderful.
organization.
That'd be wonderful.
Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thank you very much.
Is there anybody else who would like to speak to the commission on any issue that is not on the agenda? Hearing none, we will move forward with item number 6, which is the adoption of the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move adoption of today's agenda.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded for the adoption of today's agenda. Without any changes, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. Item number 7, approval of the minutes.
Mr. Chair, I move the approval of the June 11th and June 25th briefing minutes and the June 12th regular meeting minutes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for the approval of the June 11th and the June 25th briefing minutes of 2018, the June 12th, 2018 regular meeting minutes. Is there any additions or subtractions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Item number 8. This is our hi, welcome back. This is our approval of the action agenda. Each item on the action agenda will be read to the public, and you'll be given an opportunity at that time to ask any questions you may have to decide whether you want it taken off for a separate vote. But everything on here can be taken off for a separate vote if you so choose in the public or the commission. So with that being said, I will go ahead and split it up. We'll read it, and after so we will ask you if you have any questions. Commissioner Schutte, will you read 8.1 and 8.2, please? Commissioner Drexler, 8.3, 8.4. I will read 8.5 and 8.7 as 8.6 has already been removed.
Mr. Chair, item 8.1, approval of the resolution updating the cash fund balance reserve policy for cash basis financial reporting. Item 8.2, approval of warrants and treasurer electronic remittances. Claims clearing fund warrant numbers 8057187 through 8057474 in the amount of $1,285,501.08. Direct deposit fund warrant numbers 50849 through 51229 in the amount of $679,626.67. Salary clearing fund warrant numbers 7003714 through 7003740 in the amount of $477,271.51. And treasurer electronic remittances for the from May 2018 is a correction. It's a subtraction of $68,002.91.
Item 8.3, approval to appoint Jerry W. Houth as the acting county engineer for Mason County for a period not to exceed 6 months, beginning July 16, 2018. 8.4, approval to surplus 39 old recycle boxes located at Eels Hill Transfer Station through a county call for bids process.
Item number 8.5, approval of amendment number 1 to contract W2RLSF WA-1719-MACOPH-00059 between the State of Washington Department of Ecology and Mason County Public Health. We skipped 8.6 as there's no 8.6. It's been removed. Item number 8.7, approval to amend resolution 57-17, Mason County Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, SEDS project list to add Mason County Fiberhoods Rural Broadband Fiber Network Project. This project is submitted by Mason County PUD number 3. Now that these items have been read to the public, are there any items on there that you have any questions on that would help you to decide whether or not you want it taken off for a separate vote? Does anybody have any questions? Hearing none, are there any items that you would like taken off for a separate vote so you may have an opportunity to testify or comment? Hearing none, commissioners, do you have any items? Then I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of item 8.1 through 8.7, deleting 8.6 on today's action agenda.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded for the approval of the action agenda, items 8.1 through 8.7, removing 8.6 because it was removed before the process began. Any further comments?
Mr. Chair, if you're,
Please.
I'd just like to point out item 8.7, partners over at Mason PUD 3 bringing forward this project. PUDs are often unsung heroes in economic development, and one of the things that we know levels the playing field between rural and urban is broadband. And so I'm excited to see this project come forward, and I wish PUD 3 all the success that they can get from it, and look forward to supporting it.
Commissioner?
I concur. No, and I just want to thank Bart Stepp from our utilities department for the creative way of making a little bit of money off some old recycle boxes. Thank you.
We'll take every dollar we can get. I also want to thank the PUD up in my area. We have areas that are in desperate need. People don't think about it. We think about it as a luxury these days when it comes to the internet, but the truth of the matter is it's become a necessity for attending school, work, moving forward in your career or life path. And I have a whole huge area up there that are on dial-up, but even worse than that, there's no more capacity on the dial-up, and when somebody, let's say as a renter, leaves, that same house doesn't get the phone back. they have to go on a waiting list for the next person that comes in there. And if we have fiber up there, they'll be able to do their phone voice over internet proxy and other avenues. So it's more than just the internet, but the internet is extremely important. And I gotta say, as we've all talked about before, we know that's economic development, because up in the North Shore area and South Shore area, a lot of people come looking for properties hoping they can do business from home, and having every business in this county helps us. With that, is there any further comment?
Just one last one. I want to thank Leo Kim, our financial director here. Item 8.1 is hopefully one of the last legacy pieces of work you've had to do when we moved from accrual to a cash basis in our accounting, and Leo has led us through this long, laborious process, and hopefully this is it.
I assure you we'll be thanking Leo more. He has done a lot. Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. That brings us into other business. Department heads and elected officials. Are there any department heads who would like to speak at this time? Sharon, please.
I'm Sharon Fuller, Mason County Clerk. I was unable to attend last week's meeting, and I just wanted to say how much I appreciate the funds that you have honored our office with to rehire that position back. So sorry I couldn't make it last week, but I wanted to let you know I do appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Are there any other department heads or elected officials? Hearing none, we will go ahead and we will be skipping item number 10 until 9:30, which is the only legal time we can begin a public hearing, as that's what it's on the agenda. So with that, we'll move on to our calendars, which board reports and calendars, item number 11. Commissioner Schutte, would you like to begin? Commissioner Drexler, and then I will follow up.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one highlight from last week. I was out of town, and I had an opportunity, because I'm a bit of a nerd, to attend the Teton, Wyoming County Commission meeting. And they were doing their 2018-2019 budget adoption last week. And aside from my wife, who is very accommodating with my nerdiness, it was her and me in the audience, and two other people, one person from the media and their treasurer. That was the only attendees there, and they gavelled in, adopted the budget, and adjourned within 15 minutes. So it was, I would say that's a pretty quick process, but I know that's probably a testament to all the work that went into it for the months leading up to that meeting. But it was fun to attend that and watch another county government conduct their business. Was back yesterday for a day of briefings. After today's meeting, I have a couple of constituent meetings and then a meeting with Elizabeth McManus from the Alliance for a Healthy South Sound. After the holiday this week, I'll be meeting with Sean Tucker from Alderbrook to talk about a couple of the projects that they have going there. Dave Wyndham will be joining me on that meeting, as well as Dave and I will be heading up to Hoodsport to talk to a couple of business owners up there about projects that they have in the works and how we can help move those forward. And then also Friday afternoon, I'll be attending Candidates in the Park here at Neyland Park, and then back Monday for briefings.
Great. Last week was a evening meeting, and so the following Wednesday I met with our new Economic Development Council director about the plans she has for promoting and marketing our county. I met with the social services nonprofit director about some of the work she'd like to do to just coordinate among all the social service agencies here. I met with the director of the Port of Shelton regarding some mutual interests we have in utilities and infrastructure up in the Port area. We had our Lewis Mason Thurston Area Agency on Aging meeting, and then I attended the informational meeting from the Department of Natural Resources for placing 1,500 acres into natural resource conservation area, and where they were given information about it, but the local landowners also took the opportunity to give their opinion on it. And again, I want to stress that this was an informational meeting. There will be a public hearing held in the Duato area, probably Port of Duato, in July. I'll try to keep people aware of that, because that is where your comments will be put on record and forwarded to the Superintendent of Public Lands for her decision on whether or not those lands will be put into that status. Then, family things over the weekend. I had briefings yesterday. Following today's meeting, I will be, I have a friend out of town, showing her around And then on Thursday, coming back, we're meeting with the hospital commissioners about ways that we can partner together, or at least expand our ability to do medically assisted treatment for opioid addicted jail inmates. And then the function of needing, if we do start doing that type of treatment in the jail, they'll need to be able to access this medicine outside the jail once they're released. And so it's a function of having enough people, doctors that will be able to prescribe this and be willing to prescribe it. That's been the problem, so that they can continue on this treatment. And then I'm meeting with a research scientist doing an interview regarding our Hood Canal Coordinating Council work on the Hood Canal. I'm back here for briefings on Monday.
Wonderful. Okay, I had a light week, so I did attend chamber luncheon. That community action council that you have me going on, I actually, believe it or not, I think I'm gonna like it.
Good.
There was a little bit of slow process in the beginning, but you know me in a room sometimes, and then some questions started happening, then some real debate started happening. It was pretty interesting to watch. They're gonna take the time and educate me on everything that's going on, because
Good.
the thing is, I don't know. You've been holding that up for a long, long time, and again, they were very, very thankful for you, by the way, and I wanted to pass that on.
Mason County had not been represented on that council for many, many, many years. I'm really glad that we picked up the task of doing it.
I am too, because I have a feeling that they're going to be very instrumental in moving some of our stuff forward from this point on.
Good.
So
Good.
thanks for all the hard work you've done on that. And let's see, I was on iFiber One radio, met with some candidates and went over some different issues with them. I attended the retirement function here for Debbie. What a wonderful lady. I tell you what, we're really going to miss her. And some of her mentors showed up and came by, which was interesting. And what was even more interesting is how they were explaining to us and me that she is actually the mentor of some of those mentors. She's been so impressive in that industry for so long that they looked at her as the one to go to and ask questions of. And one of those had said that to me when he walked in the room. Dave looked at me and says, wow, I can't believe he's here. He's this, this, and this. I was like, and he's the one that's telling me that about Debbie. That's pretty impressive. She's going to be a real loss, not to mention her smile and her laughter. And if you haven't noticed, we're trying to eat up some time, guys, because we have to start at 2:30. I'm going to go on to talk about the vigil. We had a vigil this weekend in North Mason. This vigil, thank you to everybody that came and cared. The name was Donna Sullivan, a young lady who none of us knew. She was only here for a couple of months before the horrible thing that occurred to her where she was beat to death up in my area. And the sad part is that none of us knew her, and she didn't know about any services that could have saved her or protected her. But during this vigil, there was a lot of communication from the community, a lot of heartfelt stories that went out. But the most important part was the connection with the community and some of the services we now have up there. Turning Point now has an office up there, and they will be having a grand opening on the 6th. But, you know, just the way the people came together in order to celebrate this lady's life, and the hope also that her name will have a meaning and will have done something positive in our community. The fire department showed up in force and fed everybody without, you know, I called them and asked them, you know, what do you need? You need hot dogs, you need buns, you need, they said, we need nothing. Just thank you for letting us be a part of it. They showed up and fed everybody. And I want to remind everybody, so out there, if you are in trouble, if you have issue, there are places to turn. Number one, think about Turning Point. Number two, think about your local churches. They've been doing it for years. And your law enforcement and your firemen are always there and available for you. Reach out, touch somebody. Don't let this happen to you by being silent and being kept away from the world like this lady was. With that, the very next day, the next event, this was still a topic of conversation, which is sad, but at the same time it was interesting because I was performing a wedding and I was bringing two people together, and during the conversation of bringing them together, we had conversations in the room, because it was kind of, the way it was set up was kind of different, the way they wanted it. Started off as a baby shower and turned into a wedding. Legally, it was all set up that way. And with that, the discussion of the idea that everybody's job is to protect each other, especially in a partnership. And the thing that we forget is the very first person you need to remember to protect them from is you. And every relationship, the person that's with you is the one that can create the most damage. They need to remember to protect you from themselves. In doing so, that's how the conversation about the vigil, because some of those same people were there. So then we had our briefings. I had a left board meeting this morning. After this meeting, I will be meeting with some constituents. I also have Allen Community Association meeting. I will also be attending candidates in the park. There's going to be the rollout of the domestic shelter or the domestic violence office up in North Mason. I'll be meeting with Senator Cantwell, businesses, briefings, and I'm trying to see what that one is. I will skip it. I don't think you're with me anyway. So with that, we have almost made this.
Good work.
We have a few more seconds to go. Again, though, thank you to everybody that did show up. And I want to say her name one more time. It's Donna Sullivan. I'm hoping that our community doesn't let that name go away, because we didn't know it before this. And hopefully we will all remember it afterwards. So, with
Mr.
that,
Chair, if I could just make one,
please.
we have a few
Yes.
seconds to kill there. I just point out Turning Point, it's a tremendous organization here locally. I believe is the third largest domestic violence shelter in the state. I think we're third behind Pierce and King County in terms of bed space. Unfortunately, those programs are funded by population by the state. And so though we are one of the largest, we receive one of the fewest amounts of dollars from the state in order to support the efforts there. And so just a tremendous organization. They do incredible work for people not only from Mason County but across the state, and they even accept people from out of state that are in crisis. And so anybody out there is watching, please get to know that organization better, support it. They do incredible work here in the community.
Oh, thank you. That's literally, they're dear to my heart. He's right. I'm gonna give you an idea of something you wouldn't think about in this community. When you look at that building, it's very small. It looks like it, but inside it's actually huge. And they're one of the organizations I could proudly say they use their money well, as you just pointed out. Last year, I brought stockings for each child that was in that building, and a stocking with presents stuff in it. There was 41. Think about that for a minute. 41 kids. It's not just the adults. There's 41 kids in that facility. Thank you for Turning Point for all of that, because you never know, that could be somebody dear to your life, and let's hope that they have some place to go when the time comes. With that, it is now 9:30. We are going to move into a public hearing. The public hearing is for the approval or possible approval of franchise agreement application received by River Hill Homeowners Association granting permission to have their existing water system in the county right-of-way on River Hill Drive, Mahoney Drive, and River Hill Lane. Staff, Loretta Swanson. Good morning.
Well, you've about covered it, Commissioner.
I know.
It's that simple. This is, excuse me, River Hill is up north in the Belfair community, and this is an existing water system that's been in place for quite some time. The community, like many communities, needed to do some improvements to the water system, and at that time our utility coordinator said, we don't have a franchise agreement, and so began working with the association to enter into the franchise agreement. And as commissioners are aware, we do require franchises for any type of utility, whether it's water, power, sewer, to locate within our right-of-way. And the purpose for that agreement is to provide some protections for the franchisee in terms of if other work is happening within the right-of-way, they're notified and we can make sure that we're coordinating
and then also provides protections for the county to make sure that when the franchisee is doing the work, they're restoring and taking proper care and safety measures when they're working within the county right-of-way. So we're asking you today to approve the franchise agreement. The franchise is for a period of 10 years.
Is there any questions? Anybody in the audience have any questions for staff? Conley?
Loretta, is this an A or B water system?
This is a Group A system.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome, Connolly.
Are there any other questions from the audience? Commissioner?
How many hookups are there currently in River Hill?
Oh, darn it.
That's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I can find that out. from
I
another
can
source.
get that answer for you, but
I
I
can
don't
find out
have
from
it this
another
morning,
source.
Commissioner.
Are there any other further questions? Okay, hearing none, we will close the testimony from staff and move into public testimony. Is there anybody in the public who would like to testify on this issue? Anybody in the public? Hearing none, we will close public testimony and move into commissioner deliberations and perhaps a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll begin with a motion.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of the franchise agreement application received by River Hill Homeowner Association, granting permission to have their existing water system in the county right-of-way on River Hill Drive, Mahoney Drive, and River Hill Lane.
And I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded for the approval, for the board to approve the franchise agreement application received by River Hill Homeowners Association, granting permission to have their existing water system in the county right-of-way on River Hill Drive, Mahoney Drive, and River Hill Lane. Is there any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries and the hearing is closed. We are at the end of our agenda. Is there anything further? I do want to add, the one I couldn't read is I am meeting with a representative of the state auditors after this meeting in regards to the yearly audit that they do. They usually like to sit with the chair and ask questions first. So, anything further? I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chair, move we adjourn.
Second?
We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Hey, Darren. I didn't see you until